Maybe it's just me and my algorithm, but I've been starting to notice a lot more stuff. No one needs to buy the stuff, no one needs to interact with it, no one needs to use it, no one needs to review it, no one needs to have used it for a long time. It's online window shopping, it's Pinterest scrolls. It's not even stuff that's typically in person even. And sometimes it's just using a lot of stuff as the visual aesthetics for the video or in the thumbnail that causes people to click. Now, I think just a few years ago, we belonged to a culture that was much more revolved around overconsumption. Nothing speaks better to this than I think haul culture. Haul culture became very popular a couple of years ago when people were stuck online all the time, but of course this was very popular way before then. It became almost normalized to buy a lot of stuff, sometimes all at once, even if you didn't need it. People wanted to see your makeup collection, your book collection. Now there's greater concerns over the ethical and the especially environmental ethics of owning a lot of stuff or buying a lot of stuff that you may not need. And I think that has gone to waste, but we still have a culture in which people are still interacting with material goods without having to buy it. Part of me wants to say that this is just a late stage capitalism thing. It's just what happens when you have a society where everyone is more obsessed with stuff, especially when they can't, they might not be thinking about buying a house one day or being.
Gen Z carries even more credit card debt than millennials did at the same age, driven by a purchasing power that is 86% lower than what baby boomers had. And with first-time homebuyers at the lowest level in nearly 50 years, institutional investors are now projected to own over 40% of all single-family homes just within the next 4 years. Raising the question, has Gen Z's future been reduced to nothing more than a monthly subscription?
Able to have children because it's just so much more expensive to have all those things than to just go to Sephora. I've grown very used to pursuing materialism rather than purpose or meaning or even taking action. I'd like to go forward by saying that the signifying power of material objects has superseded language. Much in the same way that a picture can speak 1,000 words, if you are working with a title, a caption, or a tweet, a picture might just work a lot better. It makes sense that many people feel drawn to a creator based on their visual aesthetics, and that a lot of creators are taking advantage of that now. But I think as a lot of people are struggling financially and emotionally, we have grown attached to the nostalgia of materialism. We've recognized that the fun in consumerism doesn't just come from owning the objects. In fact, most of it comes from the anticipation of being around it, investigating it, looking at it, touching at it, interacting, using both our subjective tastes and our objective knowledge. Some of the channels that I've seen that have content like window shopping and Pinterest scrolling, they're not just looking at the objects and saying what they like about it. They're also talking about the designer and the history of that object, or what they think is interesting from a design analysis perspective.
Details. Oh my god. The interwoven little tiny strips of denim I think are so cool. I like that they use more flipped pieces and darker denim to blend in with this outermost layer of the wool. I think that's genuinely so sick.
That's what's so interesting to me, is that the language of materials wasn't as straightforward as I thought. Some people use materialism as a way of creating identity, while others use it as a way of sustaining or reinforcing brand image. I do think that as I've been seeing more creators join Pinterest scrolling, I've become a bit more wary of that. As I said in my last video, a lot of people's media intake comes solely from social media. So even if you're engaging with a movie or a TV show, a lot of the times it comes from the internet, it comes from social media. And what you are only interacting with things that you see on Pinterest and TikTok, you may be susceptible to becoming a bit boring. Algorithms don't just base things off of what you're interacting with, but mostly based off what other people are interacting with. When people are scrolling in order to base their visual identity, that is more weakening their personal identity rather than strengthening it. Like when I go to the library, I could leave with like 10 books at a time, and I wouldn't have made a discriminating choice about what I want to read and what interests me and what I want to really spend my time on, because I didn't have to choose. When there's no commitment or detachment to an object, to experience it, to live it, or to sentimentalize it, at the same time that you're not really analyzing it, you're not really thinking, how does this make me feel and why? What does this remind me of? You're becoming a less discriminating artist and you're not really thinking creatively about the object. Especially because Pinterest is so aspirational that people are using it for more. What do they want their dream house to be? What do they want their dream car, their dream dog, their dream whatever, you know. You may get that algorithmically, but that doesn't mean that you'll actually really encounter it in your real life. Rather, I think that Pinterest becomes a kind of find and save ritual in which people participate over and over and over and over every single time, which plays into a kind of commodity fetishism. You think that this object is more important than this one, and because of that, this signifies who you are as a person. That decision signifies who you are as a person. But it doesn't, because what does a few thousand pins that have nothing to do with your life rather have to do with a larger aspiration, most of which are material and which anyone can buy, say about you? Nothing. A few thousand pins doesn't make a person. More often than not, we use objects to explore and define ourselves, but it's not through buying or consuming, it's through creating. AI does not make choices. A human makes all the choices for AI, and even then, the AI is only going off of what common elements they see every time. So an AI can never make, strong discriminating choices based off personal experiences. An AI can never feel emotions towards something or realize what emotions a person may feel when they react to those objects. Um, and so it will never be an artist because it doesn't understand anything of what it's creating. But I feel most people are committing in the same way that AI is, in which the most commonly held and popular objects becomes more important to people's visual identity than things that they have personal experiences towards. So if you see like, oh, I'm a gold girly because gold girlies are this according to the internet. Um, you're not really basing your visual identity based off of what you think when you see it. You're basing it strictly off of a social signified impression. Rather than demonize Pinterest or people who are making like Pinterest coloring content or people who are using visual aesthetics in their videos in order to get people to stay for the video or use visual identities in order to grow a following, I would like to say, become yourself. I don't know. Let's just say, rather than letting a large visual language model, of which is possibly getting bought out by OpenAI so they can train their algorithms even better, you might want to be more patient with yourself to build an honest interest in something. Instead of being open to everything, you should be hyper specific and also at the same time interacting with things that aren't online and are in very personal sectors of your life. Yeah, that's the point of the video. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.